Thank you for joining us today's session on becoming a leader in AI-driven retail, hosted by Pronix and Core AI. As we delve into the transformative potential of conversational and generative AI in the retail industry, we'll explore how these technologies empower business to drive customer engagement, streamline operations, and boost revenue. So today we'll cover the latest AI trends in retail, from conversational AI to predictive analytics, real-world applications that demonstrate the impact of AI in areas like customer service, sales automation, and inventory management. Insights from experts on best practices for implementation of AI and achieving measurable outcomes will be part of the conversation to give you strategies to future-proof your business with AI frameworks that can adapt to new challenges and innovations. So whether you're looking to enhance customer experiences or unlock new growth opportunities, this session will provide valuable insights to help your business stay competitive in the AI-driven retail landscape. So one of the joys of LinkedIn Live is you can click on any of our panelists and learn a little bit more about their background. I'm Rick Bushnell, coming to you from outside Philadelphia by the Pronix offices is in Princeton, New Jersey, as well as our panelists, Joe Traeger. Hey, Joe, with Anthea, is the CEO of Anthea. Tim Lowenstein, thanks, Tim, is with Core AI. And Juden Thomas is, thanks, Juden, with Signet Jewelers. So appreciate all of you joining us today on the panel, as well as you in the audience. So let's delve into some of the most pressing questions surrounding AI and retail. So I think it was, we've got a little bit of a technical glitch going on. So I think we were going to start on the first question with Tim. Could you give us a little bit of discussing all the key trends in conversational AI and generative AI that are reshaping the retail landscape?
Absolutely. Thank you. So there's a couple top trends that are happening, and the big piece is really customers and retailers migrating from the typical chatbot experience, which is very structured, very point, and being able to do various things, to really moving towards that conversational side. And that includes both answering questions, doing the whole commerce journey, right? And we call that conversational commerce. And it's really, whether that's through a web or mobile apps or those type of things, it's really being able to converse from a customer or a consumer in with the retailer to be able to, find what they want, buy what they want, get support on various different things versus, click here, those type of things. And then the second thing as part of that is really, as part of that conversational commerce, it's around product discovery and those type of things, and being able to basically say what you want versus doing things with keywords and those type of things. And as part of that product discovery, it could be such a thing as, one, describing what you want, or maybe even uploading a photo or something like that. So there's multiple different things changing the retail landscape, but those are some of the top ones. And then there's other things that that retailers are looking at, as far as being able to build their own solutions and not having single point solutions and those type of things. So those are kind of some of the top hitters that's really changing the retail landscape today.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Tim. Jubin, anything that comes to mind for you that Tim did mention?
Yeah, as Tim mentioned that, conversational AI is something which is again driving a lot of factors in the retail world. And some of the areas which I could think about is having direct interactions using the chatbots. This actually helps the customer to interact with the call center agent, and at sometimes, interacting directly with these bots actually help them to resolve a lot of questions, which help indeed to reduce a lot of call center calls during the peak season. So this is something which is very useful in terms of understanding the customer needs, and the retailers who is trying to integrate with these kind of interactions have definitely seen a great growth in their revenue.
Great, thank you. Joe, anything else that we're kind of missing just on some of the key trends that you're seeing?
I'm seeing a lot right now happening just in the communication part of this, where the customer gets understood from the retailer side, and you use intelligent analytics, and those analytics are used to turn around and make products via personalization.
Right, personalization is a great point. Jubin, coming back to you, and you started to kind of mention it, but how are you seeing that retailers are leveraging conversational AI to enhance the customer service and engagement? And could you share maybe a specific example of how you might improve customer satisfaction?
Yeah, sure. So, as you know that as part of retailer, one of their major, business is through their call centers. And during the peak season, they kind of get a lot of calls, and at times it is really difficult to answer each and every calls, right? And sometimes you have seen a longer waiting time, especially, retailers like Walmart. You order something in the Walmart website and try to reach out to a call center team. At times, the call actually goes in a waiting queue. So when these kind of interactive bots, where conversational AI is actually playing a major role, is launched within the retailer's website or the mobile app, a lot of these calls can actually be avoided, because when the customer interacts with the bot, they would be answered for some of their major questions or pressing questions what they have, which actually helps some of these calls to be reduced.
Yeah, that's great. Joe, anything else that you've seen, kind of specific examples around customer service? Anything that you would add in there?
It's just creative problem solving. So if they use the information, it's really turning out to be kind of a big data area. Using that information that comes in from all the different customers or clients, a lot of it goes into different algorithms, and that information comes out. You can wash that information and pretty much pick what you need out of it, and then use that to foster natural chats.
Good, I like that. Tim, just with Core, are any other examples that you've seen specifically around improvement?
Well, I think from a customer support perspective, it's all time to value, in the sense of being able to get to answers like immediately versus, as was said earlier, as far as being on hold. And I think those use cases are expanding in being able to do things on your own, and then being able to do it quickly. So
very good. Two, if you have questions, feel free to put them in LinkedIn Live. We will take a look at the questions, and I think we'll have a little time at the end, so we'll go through all the questions at the end. So if something comes to mind, just feel free to drop it in. Joe, coming back to kind of what you were mentioning, AI is also transforming sales processes. Can you give an example of how retail companies are automating sales and the resulting benefits that you've seen?
Yeah, they're actually involved in like automating inventory management, so it improves the customer experience. Better customer satisfaction really becomes something that's key and important in this. So they automate things like sales quoting. There's enhanced customer support. Automating customer sales and service is really just the key component of it. It lowers cost in the long run, increases the scalability of the site, brings a better efficiency basically to the customer, reduces human error. I mean, there's a bunch of different things that are in this. It's really important. It's really an up and coming event that's happening in many companies.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. That kind of helps definitely start to paint pictures of where you can potentially use it. Tim, anything that you would add just from Core that you're kind of seeing as benefits around automating sales?
Well, I think automating sales on the pre-side and on the post side, having information to share with the customer is super important. So whether it being shipment status, order status, where it's at in the process, if that information can be shared with the customer, that's really what they're looking for, is where's my order, where is it at, those type of things. So automation certainly helps with that, so that the more information you can offer, it just appeases more customers with what's happening with what they're buying. Absolutely. Big time.
Good point. Juben, anything else that you've kind of seen or you all are tackling or about to tackle?
Yeah, I mean, as Tim was mentioning, there is something called as, pre the orders are actually placed into the retailer's website, and there is a post support. So definitely the automation side of things could actually help in both of these sections. And one thing which I would like to highlight is on the forecasting systems. Nowadays, retailers are actually pretty much relying upon forecasting systems like, the sales forecasting, demand forecasting, and there are many other forecasting systems in place which actually helps retailers to actually collect some kind of metrics, like in case of a sales forecasting system, they know during the peak season what kind of sales they are going to get it for a particular SKU. So at that granularity, they are able to get the things done.
Yeah, very nice. We kind of mentioned personalization a bit earlier, but Tim, I wanted to come back to you. Personalization is kind of a buzzword in AI. How can retail brands use AI to really drive personalization to foster customer loyalty, as an example?
Well, a lot of retailers now are utilizing various different data points to drive that personalization, whether it be purchase behavior, purchase history, whether it be search, search components. Maybe they're looking for certain sizes of things, or styles in the apparel type space, or primarily it's kind of what is the consumer doing during the time of their journey, and being able to use that to tune whether it be search responses, whether it be making sure that they're buying the right size and different things like that. So a lot of it has to do with what data can be collected and really analyzed and processed, but doing that in real time, so that it really changes that experience that shopper has. And that could also go into recommendations, whether it be, hey, we see you're buying this, we recommend that this product or this product is something that goes together, or maybe it's something they forgot. So maybe it's an accessory that needs to go with an electronic, or whatever, those type of things. So it's definitely it's evolving, and I think it's evolving with retailers trying to figure out how much data they can leverage, given all privacy and all that kind of stuff, but really being able to give them what they want, when they want it, and how they want it.
Very good. Juben, at Signet, have you guys started to use AI in personalization particularly yet, and working on kind of customer loyalty or loyalty programs?
Yeah, we do have personalizations, especially when it comes to marketing. We have personalized marketing, and there are other personalizations based on customer preferences, especially in the jewelry industries. And same, we have personalization with some of my previous clients I've worked with. They have personalization in predicting or telling about which brand the customer likes based on the customer browsing history. They can actually personalize the customer search. So this is something where the search is actually helping customer to understand which particular product will customer actually like based on the previous browsing history of the customer.
Okay. Joe, anything that we left out that you've seen around personalization?
I'm definitely on a different side of things. We built one of the first AI robotic kiosk systems in Europe, basically for cosmetic and nutraceutical, and now we're looking at the drug world. But it's built around personalization completely. So you can step up to the machine, or you can use a tablet or a phone. You can do a facial scan. It'll do about 10,000 algorithms against other people that have the same location, ethnicity, skin color, skin types. It'll come back, it'll build a formulation for you on all the different ingredients that might functionally work with what you have as far as a problem goes with your skin. And then within 3 minutes, it'll actually take all these ingredients and put it into a bottle, mix it, stir it, heat it, cap it, put the label on. You can call it whatever you want, and then it comes out specific to you.
All right, that's impressive. An example I hadn't heard before. That's really cool. Just coming back to you, Juven, you had kind of started to talk a little bit about predictive analytics and how that's become crucial in retail. How does AI enable retailers to predict better customer needs, and what impact is it having on business outcomes from your point of view?
That's a great question, Rick. So the main area of having a predictive analytics, which I have seen in my personal experience, is for inventory forecasting and the demand forecasting scenario. That's where productivity comes a lot in play. For example, I just want to give an example about Walmart. We all know about how big of a retailer Walmart is. So for Walmart, they exactly know what sort of demand for a particular product is there in a particular store. So this information is something which they are driving based on the predictive analytics of inventory. At the same time, the retailers like Macy's, they have predictive analytics to optimize the pricing, and they can actually do this real time to update the pricing based on the demands and based on the market price and market competition. So these are the areas which I could think about where predictive analytics is actually taking a major role.
Yeah, those are great. Thank you. Pricing is a good one. Joe, anything else that you've kind of seen for AI enabling retailers to?
Absolutely. Thanks for asking. We use real-time insights, basically take the data analytics that come in, use that as a recommendation format, stream it across a bunch of different algorithms where you can actually get the data recommendation for a specific target market. So we can look at different parts of the world or different countries and different people in different countries. We do a demand forecast off the end data that comes out of that. But when it comes down to personalization and personal recommendation, some of the largest retailers are reaching out to us now and trying to figure out, how not one size fits all as far as products go. And I'm speaking primarily from like the cosmetic and nutraceutical perspective, but now we see large pharma coming in and saying, how do we use that for a specific formulation where we have to change something that takes, weeks or months to formulate, and then turn it into something that we can do on a, hourly or a daily basis, so we can do a million different iterations.
Very cool. Tim, just over at Core AI, have you seen other examples of AI enabling retailers to kind of predict customer needs?
In the product search or in search elements, where you basically can align the results to more of the information about the consumer. So it kind of goes back to the personalization side, but I mean, it really focuses around, being able to take that analytics and making sure that you're taking what might be a broad result and really narrowing it down to very specific what they're doing. So those things all kind of tie hand in hand.
Very good. Joe, wanted to come back to you for a second on kind of marketing campaigns, and marketing is another area where AI has made significant strides. How are retailers using AI to enhance the customer outreach and tailor campaigns?
It's pretty early right now, but a lot of the bigger facilities that are putting this in place are trying to do it via customer segmentation. So they're trying to figure out who their customers are, what the demographics are, age groups, categories, and things like that. Again, they're going back to, I'm seeing a lot on the retail side, but that's our market space for personalization. So everybody's asking us, how do we personalize this to the customer? And then they're looking at pricing programs. How do you make a dynamic pricing program that works not only for the whole group, but maybe individual groups? They're doing a lot of that with predictive analytics. They're looking at what their customers do and basically using that information to go out and make products specific.
Very interesting. Tim, just kind of coming back to you, as far as marketing campaigns, I think you started to kind of share some experiences. Anything else that you would add in that you've seen at Core so far?
Well, in a campaign, looking at leveraging AI to create the content for those campaigns, being able to save time in the marketing departments and all that kind of stuff. So it's not so much kind of the outbound side, but it's the prep to do the campaign. Seeing a lot of creative, just saving a lot of time on generation of content. So being able to take just simple information and being able to enhance it to put into those campaigns from an outbound perspective.
Very good. Jubin, just coming back to you, I think you even kind of started to mention a couple examples. Anything else that you'd add in from marketing campaign standpoint that you all have been doing at Signet or thinking about?
Yeah, sure. So one thing we were actually talking about is about loyalty, and in a retailer's world, a loyal customer is always counted, right? So retailers, they have the track of the customers who are loyal, and they maintain the loyalty plans for those customers. So based on that, there are retailers who have actually implemented personalized marketing, wherein customers who are pretty loyal to the company, they actually get personalized discounts or the marketing schemes which the retailers actually run. So this is another area where retailers incorporate personalized marketing for the loyal customers.
Very interesting. Tim, coming back to you, as you kind of work around the country with different companies, future-proofing retail with AI has to be something that you're kind of talking through with prospective and existing clients. As AI continues to evolve, how can retailers future-proof their operations to adapt to emerging technologies and the changing customer needs?
Well, I think the biggest thing is having less single point solutions and having more of a platform that you can build off of, whether that be CX or EX or those type of or customer experiences or employee, but having a platform that's flexible, that not just uses one particular LLM strategy, but uses multiple ones, right? So being able to have choice. When one doesn't work, the other one does. The other part of that is really from a unified data strategy, making sure that data is kind of conglomerated or pulled together in ways that then you can leverage it in different situations, whether that be whether you're doing web or you're doing digital type things through apps and mobile type of delivery mechanisms. And that's really probably the two top ones. And then the next side of it really is making sure that you have an omni-channel approach, right? Being able to have that platform that you can build off of. And as you look at different channels that you're trying to reach out to your various different consumers, being able to do that without heavy lift. And so it really boils down to being flexible, but not saying, well, I have a chatbot solution, or I have a call center solution, or I have this, or I have that. It's really something to where, pull them together and being able to really be ready for that next thing, but not have to go back and start from scratch every single time you've got something new.
Right. So kind of more holistic, more strategic, and the tactics on the way. Jubin, as you guys are kind of living this, how do you think about future-proofing? Anything that you'd add in there?
Yeah. So as Tim was mentioning that, we might be having a lot of AI solutions in the market right now, but as we were actually discussing that, every size wouldn't fit the same retailer, right? So every retailer has a unique size, and this is something which is very important when we come to future scale or future proof the AI technologies. And this is where we need to understand what the retailer has currently, especially in the terms of data, and try to understand how it will actually benefit the retailer. So this is something where we have to come up with a plan and strategy as a retailer to understand which side of things could be implemented through AI.
Very good. Joe, anything else that you're kind of talking to market to people and helping them think about how they should handle future proofing and kind of thinking longer term?
Absolutely. A lot of this is the front of the house that we're speaking of, and I'm kind of working on back of the house problems. And so we're using AI for inventory management. So people are looking at things like how do you manage inventory when the stock is low, automatic reorder, first product in, first product out. When you're talking about things that have expiration dates, managing the product through the pipeline and the flow, it actually takes into account what's happening as far as slow movers and fast movers. Things in the drug market space we're looking at are things like automatic recalls. How do you track what went out and who it went out to so you can get that recall out?
Very good. Important. And as we kind of start to go down into some specifics, and I think, Jubin, you were mentioning a little bit about inventory management and supply chain. Could you share some real world examples of how AI is streamlining operations in areas like inventory management and supply chain for you all?
Sure. So as I was talking about Walmart, again, like taking the same example, real-time inventory visibility is very important for retailers. And many times when I've actually walked into the Walmart store, and if I am not able to search for a particular product, I normally reach out to the Walmart store associate, and they have a shelf scanning device. If you would have seen, so they basically check in the device, and they can tell whether that item is actually available in the store or not, or which particular Walmart store would actually have that. So the real-time inventory visibility is one area where AI is tremendously used. And another example which I could think about is Amazon. We know that Amazon is such a big retailer, and the way how same-day delivery works, especially if we order something today and we want that to be delivered by evening, this is called same-day delivery. And in such scenarios, the way how the warehouses in Amazons are, wherein they have the machine learning implemented in their warehouses to get the same day delivery order to be delivered to the customer. So these are some of the areas which I could think about where machine learning and the usage of AI is tremendously high.
Very good. Appreciate that. Joe, you were starting to mention that kind of back of house, and I think inventory management and supply chain were some specific examples that you were able to share. Anything else that you've seen or people should think about, or kind of projects that you're involved in or going to be involved in?
Sure. We built a full-out system, AI robotic self-learning system for inventory control for Bausch and Lomb. With basically what it ended up doing was taking about 160,000 square feet. We reduced it to about 7,000 square feet. Output speed increased by 40%. So grabbing the product, putting it in a box, labels and things like that, reduced the inventory need because it was basically a 4 millimeter space between products by 35%. We took 16 hours of labor and reduced it to 4. So labor costs went way down. We originally started, I think, 89 employees. We only ended up with 4.
Other than for those employees, that sounds like a really impressive accomplishment. And I love the tangible impacts that you all were able to create. I think that's always one of the challenges in justifying projects, can be what are the hard benefits versus soft benefits that you're going to see out of projects. So that's
one thing I could add to that is everybody worries a little bit about what happened to the employees that got reduced. And basically what they do is they go back into the system. So they're taking more or less lower level employees, and they're training them up the ladder. So they're getting more education, they're getting better jobs. They're repositioning them into useful spaces into the company. So it's not like they're just losing these employees. They're just repositioning.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Covering for the employees. Tim, at Core, any other examples that we haven't touched on that you can think of, real world inventory management, supply chain impacts?
No, not right off the top of my head.
That's fair. We've had some pretty good examples. And just kind of thinking of AI solutions across retail operations. Juben, I'm curious, scaling AI across operations can be challenging. What are some of the common obstacles that you face as a retailer, and how should people think about overcoming them?
So this is where, the best practices come into play, Rick. And again, when we try to implement some solutions for the retailer, there are many areas where, AI can actually help. We spoke about inventory, we spoke about marketing, we spoke about many different areas where AI can actually help retailers. So one of the things which I could tell, the most important thing or the dot which connects is the use of data and to understand the data of the retailer. As I was talking earlier, every retailer has their specific set of data, and regardless of whichever system we are trying to build for the retailer, whether it is a predictive system or it's a forecasting system, it is very important to understand the data very well. And the second thing which I could think about is always important that we take the customer along, or the customers are something which we always have to take along. And the business of the retailer is something which is very close to the customer needs. So therefore it is very important that we understand the retailer's data before we try to build any system.
Great, that's helpful. Joe, just kind of as you've been involved in a lot of projects, common obstacles that retailers are facing, any thoughts or things that you've shared with them as ways to overcome the challenges they're running into? Especially
most of the challenges that we see are pretty much the same across the board, whether they're medium or small companies. Smaller, more difficult. Larger companies obviously have the bandwidth to take on projects, but integration becomes one of the issues. So they want to understand how you take the current legacy systems or whatever they have on board, and how do you integrate the new AI capabilities. There's always this, security issues. So, we're talking things like HIPAA compliance. That's the best way to describe it. How do you keep the information of patients secure? What's the cost of implementation? So, the smaller companies can't afford some of the very coolest, newest, and biggest technologies out there. And then, do they really have the technical infrastructure to put it in, or do they have to outsource all this? And so really it comes into things like skill gaps. How do you fill the skill gaps that they have? How do you make them understand that the cost doesn't have to be upfront all at once, and you can do this and move it over a course of time, and then implement it into the company?
Good. That's helpful. Tim, at Core, you think about scaling and provide some capabilities there. Have you any other thoughts that you might throw in on scaling across operations? And kind of particularly, does Core have some ways to address that and help people through it?
I think from a scale in different approaches, I guess our biggest challenge with many different customers that we've met with, many different retailers, is education and taking them from one point and scaling across the company to different things. The biggest thing is for them to understand the what and the how. And it's in some companies, it's so new. They hear the word AI and they look at it as this small thing, but yet they're scared of the big thing. And how do they take it and say, well, I'm going to start with this little piece and move here? From a scale, from a deployment, purchase, just kind of putting their whole plan together as to how they're looking at as implementing. And that's probably more than not. It's just more of getting them in line with saying, here you have these grandiose ideas, but then how do you really phase it in, and being able to get everybody aligned, whether that be the data systems and a lot of things that's been mentioned already. But it's I think staffing is the other side of it, right? It's just they're looking for somebody to come in and kind of give them everything, but it's a big challenge.
Yeah, no doubt. Kind of just one last question coming from me, and then we'll take a look at some of the questions from the audience and see if we can provide some insights. But just thinking about implementation, Juben, you started to kind of mention how you guys got into implementation. Did you really start kind of from pilot projects and then scaling across the business? I'm just kind of curious if you could share how your journey has gone so far and how you kind of got bought in and what best practices you're using.
Sure, Rick. So understanding what is our business need, where AI can actually help, is something which is very important for us as a retailer, and not just for Signet Jewelers, but also for all my past retailers who I have directly worked with them, like Urban Outfitters. They are a lot into AI in this current time. And I've seen that AI has actually benefited these retailers in a tremendous way. So one thing which I would like to highlight here is that it is very important to understand the business needs and business requirement when we try to build in some machine learning integrated systems. For example, in sourcing the order from one place to another place, machine learning actually helps to understand, based on the existing data, that which store location could be the best store which can fulfill the customer order. So these things really helps a lot, and predicting these systems or having a predictive analytics in place will actually help the retailer to build their business. Yeah.
Great, that's helpful. Yeah, before we get back to the questions coming in, Joe, just from your point of view, anything that you would add in for kind of best practices that you're using or that you're helping some of your clients kind of adopt and understand?
Yes, I'll kind of echo what was just said, but in simplistic terms, we always say understand the problem. So that's us coming in or them trying to find out what they're going to try to implement. Make sure that they pick the right technology for them. You know, that could be based on, you know, dollar amounts or size of the company or actual problem itself. And then internally, externally, develop a strategy so that you've got a way that, you know, it's going to come in. You've got somebody that's going to lead the project. You've got team members that are game to learn it. And then I always suggest pilot a project. So if you're going to have multiple stores or multiple locations, start in one location, test it out, work out the bugs. And then once you've got it under control and everybody understands it and they're comfortable with it, then move on to the next steps.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate that. Tim, just from Core's point of view and project rollout, any best practices that we haven't mentioned that come to mind that you would share?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, what's the outcome? And is it aligned from the bottom levels of a company to the top levels of a company? You can implement all these things all day long, but if it doesn't provide the correct outcome or the desired outcome that maybe leadership is looking at versus the implementers, then you can go through all this work. We just had a recent project that, you know, there is some misalignment, right? So early on, it's, yes, I'm trying to solve this problem, but that problem needs to have the right outcome and all those type of things. So it's very important to have alignment internally through that whole process.
Yeah, it's a great point that is often kind of overlooked, getting organizational alignment and particularly avoiding the pain that can happen when you don't have organizational alignment. Looking over at some of the questions that are coming in, one I'm not sure that if you guys want to take a swing at, this is always one that we get, which is, you know, in this new space, what do you all think is going to be the retail landscape relative to AI in 5 years? Juben, you have kind of daydreams of things you're hoping to do or things that are on the horizon you're being asked to do that you're optimistic could be achieved 5 years out?
Yeah, I think AI is the future, and I'm just thinking, like, you know, integration of AI with many other technologies, which I have already seen coming up. For example, computer visioning is another area which is you know, getting integrated with AI, and with the help of this, retailers get the benefit of a real-time monitoring, wherein the AI is able to analyze the data, as well as you know, the integration of computer visioning is something which helps the retailer a lot. So this is one of the area which you know, I would like to highlight. Yeah.
I like that. Joe, over the next 5 years, what are the things you want to tackle
Well,
or
we're
like to
already,
see enabled?
yes, there it's already, sorry, it's like we're doing this on a daily basis. So it's already happening now. So we're seeing the early stages of AI robotic kiosks going in for personalization. We're seeing robotics for the manufacturing side of things when you're actually making the products that are going into the retail. And people forget that a lot of these large retailers are actually making their own products. Um, you have to look at it from the continuous improvement perspective, which most people forget. It's not like you're going to buy something, install it, and you're done. This is something that just keeps on moving and growing. So it's happening as we're speaking.
Yeah. Tim, anything that you kind of are looking forward to or out on the horizon, or anything that you kind of are looking to advance that you think would be realized
Well,
5 years out?
I think in 5 years, I would hope that we'll be at a point where it doesn't take weeks and months to do certain things, as far as deployments and those type of things. That the simplification of having a platform that learns on its own truly, and being able to do things without a lot of touching and configuring and customization. We're still early on that, but in 5 years, oh my gosh, I mean, there's going to be new things that we haven't even thought of. So 1 year might be interesting, but 5 years, that's out there.
Yeah, no doubt in this space for sure. Um, Another one that came in, and I heard a couple of you touch on it, but I was wondering if we could come back to managing data privacy and security in this AI retail environment. Uh, do any of you want to expand a little bit more on your thoughts there, or things that you have seen or are doing to really
Well,
try and address that privacy
I,
issue?
I can comment a little bit, but I guess from a data privacy of the consumer or data
Mm-hmm.
privacy of the retailer. And so if we pick on the retailer that says, hey, they've got their own systems, they've got different things. So as you deal with all the LLMs out there and all that kind of stuff, making sure that things stay within the confines of that retailer, then there's lots of things that are out there today that you can create your own, Core has it, but it's something that you can create your own custom LLM, so everything stays within your control. Now, if you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about consumer privacy and that kind of stuff, I mean, this is where you have to be very careful as to what data is being collected, kind of the typical things that are happening today. But those are kind of two different areas. But I can probably mostly address the retailer side.
Thank you. Joe or Jubin, other thoughts on kind of how you are or think about managing data privacy? And another piece that was asked by another person was just kind of ethical considerations that always comes up too in the AI space.
Yeah, so following the GDPR policy is very important, where we understand the customer privacy and we understand what are the personal data or PI information of customer. Those are the things which we should never leak in. Even for the machine learning algorithms, we have to ensure that those guardrails are in place, where we are not leaking any kind of private customer information outside. So this is very important when we try to build any system. Yeah.
Good, thank you. Joe, anything else that kind of
Sure.
you were of addressed?
I mean, one of the things that has been happening over the last 10 years plus, this HIPAA compliance in the pharmaceutical medical industry has been in place. And so if you want to read up on how do you protect customer information, it's a good place to actually understand it from their perspective. And there's plenty of programs out there that kind of work along the fringe of how that works. It's a little overweighted for the pharmaceutical industry, but in the retail, it could be a little thinner. And then from the actual retailer side, when you look at somebody that's trying to come in and hack into a system, what are they after? They're after your data on your customers. They're after information from your suppliers and that kind of thing. So you've got to have some really good firewalls set up and have the software that's ready to protect your data as well as the customer's data.
Yeah, good reminders. Good hygiene for data is always important. Good. Well, I'm just looking through a lot of the questions. I think we kind of answered dimensionally. There's a bunch of questions about kind of the economics and KPIs, which I think you guys spoke to pretty well, and gave some super real and detailed and specific examples, as well as I think you talked a little bit about strategically how to think about it. So I think we've hit kind of most of the question themes that are coming across. So thank you all for joining us. Our discussion is really aimed to kind of highlight conversational AI and generative AI and how they're shaping the future of retail, from customer personalization, interactions, automating core processes. AI is not only driving efficiency, but also opening up new revenue streams. So I hope you're leaving today's session with some actionable insights to help leverage AI effectively and stay competitive in this fast evolving landscape. As you look ahead, remember that adopting AI is a journey. Start small, measure your success. Don't hesitate to scale up when you're ready. Our team at Pronix and Core AI are here to support you in navigating this journey with the right experts, some of whom you've seen here, expertise and solutions. So thank you all again, and we look forward to seeing how these are implemented and the insights in your own retail strategies. Keep innovating and pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI and retail. Take care all. Thanks again.